cheat your tone, I'm beat you, yo. Right up in the car, it's like the kick on score. Active frequency, trip the car along. Got moves to pay, choose the day, you hallucinate. Smoking me out without war, torn, ghettos. Opposite of good fellas, hero. Any fellow who rock the mic, demo. Not your white.
Yes, sir, you, and you get it. Yes, sir, you, and you get it. Yes, sir, you, and you get it. Yes, sir.